Episode of Demystified Selling with Microsoft, and I'm excited for my conversation today with Dayvisson DaSilva. Davisson, welcome.
Thank you, Rob, for the invitation. I'm always happy to talk about Microsoft, to talk about my experience. So,
Great. Well, let's jump in, and to start, maybe you can give our audience a little bit of background about yourself, kind of where you're from, and how you came to Microsoft, and a bit about where you are today in Microsoft.
yeah. So, as you can probably notice, I have some accent. I'm originally from Brazil. Grew up in Brazil, moved to the United States about 20 years ago. Typical immigrant story. Learning English, have nothing in my pocket, all that story. But I was able to get my bachelor's degree, master's degree, and all my professional career has been here in the United States. In the past 7 years, I have worked with technology, tech sales, which I absolutely love. I worked 5 years for IBM and now 2 years for Microsoft. And I specifically work in a team called Tech for Social Impact. I can totally say that's probably the best team. Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's the only one that I worked for, right? So I can really vouch for it. But it was a huge blessing to not only work for Microsoft, but also on the top of that, we work with nonprofits and enhancing their mission with technology. So mixing sales, nonprofits, and technology for me, it's like a perfect match. So I'm really happy to be on the team that I am. I'm a solution sales specialist, so I do sell business applications, which basically is Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. So everything in between Dynamics 365, ERP, CRMs, marketing, supply chain, and now Power Platform, Power Apps. Now we have the Copilot Studio, Power Pages, and all that the cool stuff that Microsoft keeps changing. I am in paternity leave for 2 months. I probably have to catch up on a bunch of new
Right.
games and training. So that's a quick
Yeah.
introduction.
Well, that sounds like, I mean, it just what you're covering in terms of the technology is massive.
It's
But,
a lot.
yeah, for sure. But one of the things that stands out for me is that, and maybe you can weigh in on this, is that your organization, the Tech for Social Impact, or the not-for-profit, is very much mission driven. And it's
Mhm.
all about the mission of helping these people achieve, their goals as a not-for-profit organization. And, what would be a typical size you work with, or does it range? Are they sort of small not-for-profits all the way up to big? I'd love to hear more from you on that.
That's a great question. So we are basically broken down in, you can say in three buckets. The strategic, which are the biggest nonprofits, for example, United Nations, right? So they are on that big bucket of strategic accounts. Then you have the SMC. Now we call growth accounts, which that's the area that I work. I have 206 nonprofits that I work with. So I cover all the huge portfolio of technologies plus 206 nonprofits. And then we have the S&B kind of a level, which is the mom and pop of all the nonprofits. A lot of them are actually really big. They're just not managed by our team. So the first two tiers are managed by my team. The SMB, it's more 100% basically partner led.
Yeah.
Partners have a huge impact on that category, and that's how we break down.
That really helps. I think people understand how you align, or how they can better align with you. And so let's talk a little bit more about the partner involvement here in your world.
Mhm.
Is that how big a part of partnering is your role? Like, how much time do you spend with partners? And I have to imagine with 200 plus accounts, it's going to be a big number.
Yeah. So it's basically I cannot do my job without the partners. Let's just say that 100% partner led, especially for business applications. So a lot of those small nonprofits, they might have an IT team, right? And
Mhm.
they can manage Azure. Maybe they can manage their data and AI. But when it comes to our CRM implementation, it's there's no way that they can do by themselves, right? Especially a nonprofit. So in business application, we 100% work with partners on a daily basis. Sometimes I talk more with partners than internal Microsoft employees. That's basically my role. I have been blessed to get to know really well the partners and work really well with all of them. In our team, we are partner agnostic. However, the Tech for Social Impact, we do work with specific partners who align themselves with nonprofit, right? So we want to make sure that the technology is well implemented. At the same time, we want to industry experts. So because we have the Microsoft Cloud for nonprofit, a lot of partners, they have enabled themselves to work together with us. So we have about, I can't think about the number now, it keeps changing, but I would say about 20 partners who are managed by Tech for Social Impact. What that means that they are aligned to a specific PDM, and on a regular basis, they do their planning, they do their strategies, and of course, as a seller, my priority usually goes to those partners who are already aligned to our team, to our PDM team, right? It's easier for me to work with them. But if a client comes with a different partner, we 100% we support the client with any partner that they want to work with. Sometimes they have past relationships, and even though those partners sometimes they don't have the industry knowledge of nonprofits, we're still very happy to work with them.
Yeah, and I think that's great to point out that it's not, although there is a managed set of partners, that partners still, if they can bring value, what I'm hearing is from you is that if they're bringing value to that not-for-profit, that you're more than happy to align with them and to go to market with them or to help sell with them in terms of making the client successful at the end of the day.
Yeah, in fact, 2 partners last year that I worked with, that they were not aligned to our program, and because I was working with them, we were able to kind of recruit them, and they now are part of the ecosystem. So they work side by side with us. And I have other partners who are already in the process of applying and getting the training that's needed to become TSI managed. That's what we call. And also that, like for example, right now, even on LinkedIn, partners are reaching out. Hey, Davisson, I see that you work with nonprofits. How can we get involved? So I kind of redirected them to the other team, the partner team. But there's always interest. There's always interest to partners to work with nonprofits.
Well, that's great to hear. And I think that you alluded to something I want to dig in a little bit, is that you talk about training for partners that are involved in the TSI space. And I think it's important to point out and for partners to realize that Microsoft works differently with not-for-profit, specifically in how they license the product and what it costs to license the product. And so maybe you could just talk a little bit more about what it means for a customer to work with TSI. So not just the partner, but the customer too. It's a different experience.
Right. So basically, I could summarize that in probably three areas. The first one is that we have what we call the Microsoft Cloud for Nonprofit. Right. So there's different areas, like there's different clouds inside of Microsoft, and this one specifically, basically our solutions, our dynamic solutions are aligned to nonprofits, right? So we use something that is called the common data model, which basically uses all the nonprofit language and it speaks the language of donations and constituents instead of buyers and clients. And so we use our own language. So it's important for the partners to understand also that language that we use internally. Second, all the incentives and the programs and monetary ASAF and all those things that you will have to apply for. Also, inside of the nonprofit sector, there is a few things that you have to be aware, and then they need to be trained to understand. And
well, let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Then is the licensing model the way that
yes, the
People's
licensing model.
model.
Yeah. So there's a lot of basically all. A lot of people think, oh, there's no money in the nonprofit sector. There is money in the nonprofit sector. Yes, they are heavily discounted. The client buys the licenses is an average of sometimes 50 to 75%, rule of thumb of discounts that they receive by being a nonprofit.
Mhm.
So as a partner, you have to understand that piece. Also, because when you go to give your bid for the implementation, right? A lot of times the partners they're willing also to be heavily discounted. Some partners have specific programs for nonprofits as well, so they have their own mission to give back, to help,
Yeah.
and they have to be aware of that as well. So there's no a whole lot of negotiation room for to work with
It's a
nonprofits.
different model, and I think that's what I'm hearing you say is that if, as a partner, you understand it, and that's where Microsoft training comes in, and partnering with the TSI partner group is that you better understand, one, the vernacular that you all use to work with customers, and that the not-for-profit industry uses as a whole. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I heard was training around the different programs that are unique to TSI, or Tech for Social Impact. And then finally is understanding that their licensing cost model is different for TSI than it would be for a commercial customer. And that, a lot of partners today, in your experience, are also on a mission to help these not-for-profits, so price their services accordingly. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Exactly. So I would say, okay, I'm not on the partner side, right? So I know of course they have their profits, and they're not going to be working for free and
Yeah.
doing free service. But at the same time, they have to be aware that the nonprofits they have, of course, they have really tight budgets. It's very um, sometimes they're playing 2 3 years ahead when it
Yeah.
comes to what they're gonna kind of technology they're gonna be using, implementing. So there's a lot of it's almost a lot of people like to compare this work with the government and with educational institutions. It's I think it's pretty close. I never worked on that industry either, so I don't
Yeah.
know. But there is a lot of opportunities, and again, like I could be selling, you know, on the retail side, on the financial side, but I'm selling on
Mhm.
profit. So there is an added bonus to my role as a seller, and the same for the partner. There's an added bonus for them to be work with no profits.
Yeah, and that's that mission driven sort of
Mhm.
ability to give back. So I love that. I love that a lot. So, and I will say that, my experience personally coming out of the Microsoft partner ecosystem is that, I enjoyed working with the not-for-profit customers. I always felt like they were some of the best people to work with. I mean, they truly are on a mission. And is it a commercial customer that maybe the budget's a little larger? No, it's not. But when you get the satisfaction of helping them and still running a profitable business, I'm not saying to a partner to run at a loss, but unless you're giving back and for a greater good, then there still is a lot to be done in that in the TSI space, in my opinion. So
Oh yeah. So I think when I started 2 years ago, Satya's vision and goal was to double the number of nonprofits that we support. At that time, it was like 300,000. So
mhm.
2 years has passed. I think by double by 2025. So we are on trajectory of of doubling that number of nonprofits they were supporting. Most of them, of course, on the SMB level bucket.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our team is growing. We continue to hire people.
Yeah, no, I think it's I see some great work going on in that space. And so let's shift gears a little bit. And I'd love to do a little bit of kind of a role play, if you will, is
Yeah.
that if I'm a new partner to you, so I'm reaching out to Davisson, I'm like, hey, great to meet you. I'd love an opportunity to partner with you. So I'd love to hear from you, Davidson. What are the few things that you'd want to hear from me as a new partner in your world? What are the things you'd want to hear from me that say to you, yes, this is somebody I could consider giving a chance, or yes, this is somebody that I could see potential to work with? I just love to kind of hear you brainstorm on that a little bit.
Yeah. So hey, Rob, I'm really happy to meet you today. I'm glad that you want to work with us and our TSI team, and especially with business applications. I know you're really strong on ERP, CRMs, and Power Platform. So it's great. We do work with some managed partners, so I'm gonna be sending you some more information later on to if you have interest to be in the ecosystem. But what I wanted to know right and like today, we only have a few minutes. Like, how do you have first? Do you have what kind of experience do you have with nonprofits? That would be good to know if you have any stories, any used case, something that you have done in the past. I think a lot of our clients they like to see that. A lot of times they're really, you know, super cautious on how they spend their money, so they want to see another client that have done that before. So that would be one thing very important
Yeah.
for me to understand. And second, if we of course, we're not doing everything for free, but we would like to know what kind of assessments and things that you can do. Uh, a lot of times, for example, some partners they do like a 1 day a free workshop where they brainstorm ideas and things and come up with
Mhm.
like an MVP. Do you have anything like that we can start offering to our clients? Those two
Interesting.
big questions.
So I love that. One is that, you're right away, you're understanding what experience they have in the TSI space. So do they really understand what it means? And the second one, which is how much value are they bringing right out of the gate? And I love that, are they running Copilot, even light type Copilot assessments or Copilot
Mhm.
introduction trainings or that. So just finding out what kind of value, even if it's sort of compressed, like you said, a 1 day or even a half day thing, what are you doing and what the partner bringing that helps you educate your customer? Is that what I'm hearing you say there?
Yeah, exactly, and it's very very important because um, again, it's of course we know that's kind of the way to get a foot in the door, but especially on the nonprofit sector, they have to try to taste to see. A lot of times they don't have a lot of money to do like a full MVP type of
Yeah.
solutioning initial setup. So we have to find small type of assessment and things where they can get their feet wet right
Yeah.
away, and then be able to be willing to invest in the
Yeah,
technology.
so it's really helping them to sort of envision or understand the possibilities without having to put a and sort of large cash outlay just to get that initial sort of understanding. I love that it's giving back at the end of the day is, hey, let me share this with you, and so I love the
Yeah,
fact that
and
bring
another thing is very very important that I sometimes I think surprising. We there's a lot of incentives on the partner side when it comes to money that they can use for those type of assessment things.
yeah,
But a lot of times, sometimes they don't want to use it because maybe they had a bad past experience, or it was too complicated, or was a lot of red tape, or they are not enabled. They don't have that specific training, or they're not
mhm,
leveraging that. So something that I have done lately is just educating and helping the partners to see, hey, we have all these buckets of money here, and this is what we can do. What kind of offer can we, do
right,
right away to leverage this money that's just sitting
yeah.
here?
Those workshop dollars and leveraging those workshop dollars in service of that community, of the TSI community, because it's the money's there. I think that's a great value. That if I, as a partner, know how to navigate those different programs, that helps you speed up the entire process. If I'm hearing you correctly.
Exactly, exactly. And honestly, like I don't see a whole lot of activity on that side
That's
of
really
leverage.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a huge sort of value add that you shared right there. Is that as a partner community, we need to understand what programs are there to help our customers, to help our joint customers. And at the end of the day, it helps to move the ball forward quicker for all of us.
Yeah, for me, surprising. Some partners, they have a specific person that's just responsible to make sure that those funds are used, which is really cool. Like, you know, they understand the programs, they're responsible for the application, to follow ups. If there's hiccups, you know where to go to. Other partners, they don't even know that.
Right. They don't even know they exist.
Yeah, there's a huge gap that needs to be solved.
Well, Davisson, this has been really fun. I've really enjoyed our conversation. But before we wrap up, you know, if you had to say to a partner, you know, what's the one thing that you want them to remember from today's conversation? And what's the one takeaway you'd love for them to just, if they take nothing else away, take this one point away?
We, at least me, Microsoft sellers, we need you. Like, there's no way that we can do our job without your help. I know that sometimes even partners or sellers have, you know, bad experiences, and some sellers start hesitating working with partners or specific partners, and they start, you know, being too picky about who they work with. We just need to find a way to collaborate more and more. There's huge demand for our service, to sell our technology. There's huge demand of good partners. So I would say, if you had a bad experience in the past working with Microsoft sellers, just don't give up. We do need to work with you, and I think it's important to have that strong relationship. For me to be successful in my job, I need to scale through partners. Scaling through partners is a key. So I personally, I have not encountered too many barriers or problems working with partners, but I know it's there, and I know that it's important to move that away and just focus on the client and fulfill our mission.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it when you said, you know, you scale through partners. I mean, just you alone, 200 plus accounts.
Yeah,
there's no way one person can manage all that. So the fact that you recognize that scaling through partners, you know, that is the win for everybody. To your point, it's the win for the customer, the win for the partner, and the win for Microsoft. And I think that's really what we're all after, is the sort of Microsoft community, Microsoft ecosystem. So I love that. I appreciate that. And if anybody wants to learn more about Davisson, where do they go?
My name is very unique. I'm the only Davisson that spells like that at Microsoft. So you can quickly find my email address, but you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm always posting things about nonprofits. Now, recently, in paternity leave, I have some extra time, and I decided to give back to the community, help people to get tech sales jobs. So I'm always posting things, very active on LinkedIn. You can find me. If you want to find out more about TSI, reach out. If you want to know more about what we do as nonprofits, what we can offer as a Microsoft Cloud for nonprofit, I can be your guy as well. And I know the entire team. So just reach out. I'm here to help. And appreciate your time, Rob. I have seen you before. I have seen you in our Las Colinas office here in Dallas. And we talked before. So
I appreciate that. Thank you, Davisson. Thank you for your time. And I just want to say that I follow you on LinkedIn, and your content is amazing. The fact that you're really out there helping on the platform is great. And I'll continue to follow you. And I encourage everyone watching today to follow Davisson. So with that, thanks again, Davisson, and we will talk to you soon.